Over 750 drivers were caught speeding on just one stretch of road in just 1 month, all owing to the fact that there were roadworks going through this bit of road. So I'm talking about speed and roadworks in this video. So welcome back, but if you are new to me and my channel, I'm a barrister who helps you understand law. So I'd be really grateful if you hit that subscribe button to get free legal guidance on this channel, and you can hit me up with clips and requests for videos at the email addresses below, and for formal advice only at the clerk's email address. So this bit of road in Stoke Orchard on the M5 northbound is restricted to 50 miles an hour through a bit of roadworks. Now, we all know the feeling of approaching a bit of roadworks where the speed is much reduced from the standard speed of the road, and many people seem to think that it's just too slow because you're going through roadworks, you're used to it being national speed limit or whatever the normal speed limit is, but because it's been reduced to roadworks and roadworks speed, many people seem to think that this is just guidance or just a suggested speed or just designed to make you slow down a bit but isn't legally enforceable. Now, of course, none of that is true. If there is a restricted speed limit going through roadworks, that is a set speed limit, and it needs to be obeyed in just the same way as any other kind of speed limit. There aren't automatically and magically some kind of leeway guidance that applies just to roadworks. They apply in exactly the same way as they would in any other part of the country, whether they were roadworks or not. And contrary to popular belief, there is not some rule of 10% plus 2 above the speed limit. So in a 50, you're allowed that little bit extra. Those are merely guidance that are adopted by some services, not all of them, throughout the country. And it is just that, it's guidance. It is neither a legislative nor a regulatory guidance and leeway above the set speed limit that you will get away with. Police services do adopt this guidance and tolerance in some areas because if you are 1 or 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, they might just let you off. That's all that it's really designed for. It's not designed to allow everybody that guidance and leeway, otherwise there'd be no point in setting the speed limit. So on a very strict analysis, the speed limit set, be it 30, 40, 50, or even in some areas where it's set down to 20, or even in most car parks which are set at 10. So long as those signs are in force, then the speed limit is set at that precise boundary. If you are doing even 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, then you are at risk of being caught. Now, on this particular set of roadworks on the M5 northbound, over 750 drivers in December alone were caught speeding in a 50 mile an hour limit, because that was the speed limit set for the roadworks. So if you are going through these roadworks and you are being pushed from behind, and I say pushed figuratively speaking, I hope, by vehicles that seem to get right close up behind you. That's a separate offence, by the way. It's tailgating, and it's also driving without due care and attention for other road users, and so on. But if you have other vehicles right up behind you trying to push you to go that little bit faster because you're going through roadworks, then that is not going to be an excuse, and it's not going to be a defence if you increase the speed to increase the gap between you and the vehicle behind. If you are caught by any one of the automatic or average speed checks, or even a manual speed check by a police vehicle on a bridge or behind a bush or wherever that might be, if you are caught by those, you are going to be guilty of speeding. There are almost no defences to speeding. There are only what we call special reasons, which is not really a defence. It's just a reason that you might give. Let's say you were in an emergency, you are literally taking somebody to hospital, emergency reasons. That might be a special reason why you are speeding and may have a mitigating impact upon any sentence that you might receive. But it's not a full defence. The only real full defences are when the machines were not calibrated properly, or the signs were not in fact in force, or the signs were unclear and therefore you couldn't see them and things like that. But those are very, very few and far between. Even when you get one sign, which is, let's say, completely obliterated by snow, if there was a sign a couple of 100 yards behind you and you went past that sign, then you're expected to know what the speed limit is. And that's likely to be the case in almost every situation. There are those very limited circumstances where defenses like that work, but as you'll see from many social media videos that go around saying, just turn up at court and maybe the officer won't turn up, or maybe they didn't have the machine calibrated, maybe this and maybe that. If you wait until you get to court on one of these speeding charges, you are likely, in most cases, to get a more severe penalty because you've taken the matter to court, you've essentially wasted resources and time, and therefore the court is likely to impose a higher fine and more points on your driving license, as against if you really were speeding, accepting those points that you might be offered by the police as a fixed penalty by way of 3 points and a fine and so on. But another warning that comes along with this as well, because there are so many people being caught by these speed cameras, is not to try to blame somebody else. Because that in and of itself, both for the person blaming somebody else and for the other person who is taking the points, as the phrase goes, for somebody else, both of those would be perverting the course of justice because you are essentially twisting the truth. You are blaming or allowing blame to be laid on somebody else. Or if it's you, you are taking the blame for somebody else. So many times we've had cases where clients don't understand why it's their fault because they've just accepted the blame for somebody else. They seem to think that they are permitted, allowed to take the blame for somebody else. And that, of course, is not true because it's just simply not true. It wasn't that person that was guilty of the offence. And this doesn't just go for speeding, this goes for all sorts of offences as well. Which is why as barristers, as lawyers in general, we must press clients for the truth of the matter because in some cases, siblings or cousins, spouses will take the blame for all sorts of offences for somebody else because they don't want them to be blamed for it. So these are things to watch out for. But the overarching message for this video is if you come up against these roadworks and there is a sign limit set in your face for that set stretch of roadworks, you must obey that strip of road's speed limit because otherwise you might end up like these hundreds upon hundreds of other people that get these speeding fines through their door. Or if they contest them, of course, they end up in court. So roadworks, speed limits are set. Let me know in the comments what you think about those speed limits, but either way, my guidance to you is to obey those speed limits in roadworks so that you are not caught out. In the meantime, please do remember to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.